You unbuckled in, or do you trust my driving?
I trust.
Okay.
This is Tienne Hopkins, a mother who believed that new love would bring safety to her children. The youngest child in the family, Lilith Burkhart, later passed away after Tienne's boyfriend became the controlling and disciplining figure in the house. Initially, everything was presented as an accident until the police arrived at the scene. This is a true crime, not just about the death of a child, but about the moment a mother is forced to realize the greatest danger sometimes doesn't come from strangers, but from her own choices.
So yeah, you can call her attorney in the morning. Like I said, they should make accommodations for...
Lilith Burkhart is described as a recently turned 2-year-old with 2 sisters, ages 5 and 1. On July 1st, her life came to an end. Prosecutors allege that Lilith was killed by Brian Moser, who had been dating her mother, Tienne Hopkins, and moved into the home around April. According to prosecutors, Brian Moser quickly became the primary disciplinarian for all 3 children. The short period of time between meeting, moving in together, and gaining control over the children is a serious warning sign. On the morning of July 1st, it is Moser who places the 911 call from the family's home.
I believe that my stepchild is dead.
You said your stepchild is dead?
Yes. We just woke up and found her.
How old is she?
She's 2.
2-year-old?
Yeah, I believe she's all the way gone. I don't know if they suffocated last night or what's going on. There's no way that... I don't know. She's dead. I just woke up and found her.
What did you think of Moser's tone during the call? Was there any hint of distress or urgency related to the children? Please comment below. Moser tells dispatch that Lilith had been sleeping on the top bunk of a bunk bed alongside her sisters, covered in blankets. He asks for help to arrive quickly and mentions that his fiancée is panicking.
What is your name, sir?
My name's...
Was she in her crib, or?
She was on top bunk. They were in some blankets, okay, but I don't know how this happened.
Okay, was she sleeping with another child?
Yeah, she was sleeping with her sisters.
Okay.
I need someone here quick, please.
Yeah, we got the squad page out for you, okay?
Okay, thank you. I need to get off of here. My fiance is flipping out.
Okay. You did say apartment.
What'd you say?
You said apartment.
Apartment. Tourists outside.
An autopsy later determines that Lilith later passed away from restricted breathing. Investigators also document extensive injuries across her body. Authorities discover that Lilith's 2 sisters also have injuries, though they survive. The injuries on all 3 children dispelled any doubt that this was an isolated incident, reinforcing the prosecution's claim of an abusive environment. Brian Moser is initially arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment. After the case is presented to a grand jury, charges against both Moser and Tienne Hopkins are upgraded. According to the indictment, both Moser and Hopkins are facing serious charges. Moser faces 10 charges, including homicide, negligent manslaughter, and charges related to endangering children. Prosecutors allege the unlawful treatment began in April. Meanwhile, Tienne Hopkins, Lilith's mother, faces 8 charges, including homicide, negligent manslaughter, enabling child unlawful treatment, and endangering children. Hopkins has been arrested. Body camera footage shows deputies escorting her, removing personal belongings, and transporting her to jail.
All right, just hang out right there.
Here, must look at me the vape there. You ain't going to allow
Yeah,
it.
you won't be able to keep that with you.
Yeah.
All right.
She states that she will be contacting her attorney. As the deputy continues driving Hopkins to the jail, he explains booking procedures and how she will be able to communicate with her attorney while in custody. Inside the jail, Hopkins is escorted in and seated.
All right, let me open this door for you. Just hang out back here for me. All right, let's hop on in there. Just have you a seat right there at that chair.
Investigators reveal an unusual detail. Brian Moser legally changed his name the day before Lilith's death. His former name was Terry Michael Smith III. Investigators further note that Brian Moser is the name of a character from the television series Dexter. This detail becomes part of the broader discussion surrounding the case as the program transitions away from the arrest footage. Ern Haslam, the prosecutor for Adams County, Ohio, participated in the discussion to explain how the case unfolded from a legal perspective and why it quickly escalated beyond initial concerns about child welfare.
That's correct. First off, Anjanette, thanks for having me on. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about this case. You're absolutely correct. We work very closely with our sheriff's office. We're a small county, population of 28,000. So this is a call you never want to get, ever, not in any county. I mean, a dead 2-year-old. You never want to receive this call, but we work closely with our sheriff's office, hand in hand. The current sheriff, the newly elected sheriff, used to be an investigator for my office. He spent over 25 years in our office. So we continue to work closely. I have 2 investigators in my office, and whenever something like this comes in, they call and get us involved immediately. So we did have an investigator on scene with the investigators for the sheriff's office, along with my juvenile prosecutor, who's very experienced. She actually was working closely with our investigator and with the team at the time. We wasn't really sure exactly what we had, if it was a children's services issue or if it was a crime at that time. Obviously, the call came in early in the morning, and at that time, all we knew is we had a 2-year-old that wasn't breathing.
Haslam explains that when investigators first responded, they did not yet know whether the situation involved children's services or a criminal act. All they were told initially was that a 2-year-old child was not responsive. Once on scene, Lilith was pronounced did not survive very quickly. Investigators immediately observed visible injuries on her body. They also discovered injuries on the other 2 children in the home, all under the age of 5. At that point, the situation became a criminal investigation.
Of course, our dead 2-year-old LB, and you referenced her name, but for the rules I operate under, I don't name victims, so we'll refer to her as LB. She not only wasn't breathing, and she was pronounced dead very, very quickly on scene. Efforts to revive her were made unsuccessfully, but we did notice that there were physical injuries to Lilith, to LB at the time. Additionally, there were physical injuries to her 2 siblings. At that time, we weren't sure they were her 2 siblings, but we knew there were 2 children under the age of 5 or 5 or under that were there, and they had physical injuries as well. So this thing turned into a criminal investigation with the snap of a finger.
This moment is the point where any justification for the accident crumbles. The injuries on many of the children reveal a continuously harmful environment, not a single tragic event. The indictment alleges child endangerment and unlawful treatment spanning from April through July. Prosecutors believe Brian Moser entered the family's life in early April, and that abusive behavior began shortly after he moved in.
Yes, so you've obviously looked at the indictments. We have a 10-count indictment on Brian Moser. We have an 8-count indictment on Tienne Hopkins, and we can go through those. I'm sure you're going to want to go through those in a little bit. But if you look, some of the counts have different dates. But for the child endangering and the permitting child abuse, as you can see within the indictments, they do span from April 1st to July 2nd of 2025. And from what our investigation's been able to reveal, and I won't be able to talk to you a lot about the facts, but it appears that sometime in early April, Brian Moser did come into the life of Tienne Hopkins and her 3 children. And so we're not exactly sure when the child abuse began, but we know that it began sometime not too long after middle to the end of April or early May.
The extent to which the abusive behavior escalated after Moser took on a role in the family further reinforces concerns about the rapid pace of cohabitation when young children are present in the home. Haslam states that Tienne Hopkins cooperated with investigators and appeared forthcoming during questioning. Brian Moser also cooperated, but is believed to have minimized his role and downplayed the severity of his actions.
She was very cooperative. From what I can tell you, She answered our questions. She appeared to be truthful from what we've been able to compare what she's told us to what we've been able to match up with what's occurred. She did appear to be truthful. For that matter, up to this point, the defendant's been cooperative and has given statements. And although I don't know that he's been completely truthful with us, obviously, as the subject of the investigation, he downplays or minimizes his role in what occurred. But for the most part, both of them were cooperative and gave statements to law enforcement.
The prosecutor explains that Moser became the primary disciplinarian for all 3 children. He clarifies that what Moser described as discipline meets the legal definition of unlawful treatment under Ohio law.
What I can tell you is, my guess is, without trying to read into his mind, that he was disciplining these children and very quickly became the person from statements from both he and Tienne, in this case, he was the person that was responsible for discipline this 1, this 2, and this 5-year-old. Now, what I can tell you is, I don't discipline my children this way. I'm guessing you don't discipline your children this way. And history will tell us this kind of discipline is abuse.
Haslam states that, by Moser's own admission, he used physical discipline because they would not go to sleep. The children suffered serious bruising and contusions. While these injuries alone did not directly cause Lilith's death, they demonstrate a pattern of violence.
Sometime between the end of the day on June 30th and when police arrived on July 1st, what I would call what he did to these children, and by his own admission, was not just child abuse, would rise to the level of assault. He, by his own admission, struck these children because they wouldn't go to sleep. And although those injuries did not cause the death to LB in this particular case, it was enough to cause serious contusions, bruises on all 3 of the children's heads. And you'll see that encompassed in the indictments with the child endangering charges.
Initially, authorities filed preliminary charges against Moser only. Hopkins was temporarily released as a strategic decision, allowing investigators to continue gathering evidence while monitoring her actions and statements. Both defendants are arraigned and enter not guilty pleas. Moser is held on a $1 million bond, while Hopkins is held on a $500,000 bond. Both are ordered to have no contact with each other or the surviving children. The surviving children are placed into protective custody and receive medical treatment for their injuries. Prosecutors state they are awaiting the final autopsy report, which preliminarily lists the cause of death as restricted breathing. As the investigation concluded, Tienne Hopkins was no longer a distraught mother, but a defendant in a child homicide case. What had once been called trust, love, or family discipline were now merely details presented to the jury. This is where evil parents must realize silence, compromise, and indifference are also forms of guilt. The lessons after this should be for us. Lilith Burkhart's death was not a single moment, but the result of a series of choices that adults had disregarded until there was no longer any chance of correction. See you tomorrow. Have a good day.